Hello, welcome. I'm Denise, and this is a 30-minute blocks class. So if you're a teacher, this is going to give you lots of ideas of how to use blocks, not necessarily as a prop in the same way as we usually do, but as something that draws attention to various fascial lines and the muscles and kinetic chains that actually create support in the body. So, hope you're excited. If you need 5 minutes or so to have a sitting practice before this practice, meditate for a few minutes, ground and breathe, please just pause the video and take time for that. I do encourage you to do that. But otherwise, we're going to get started right away. So we'll bring the block. This, as I mentioned, is a block class. You don't necessarily have to have the exact same block. It could be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, and feel free to use a meditation cushion or something else if you don't have a block. You'll see that there's lots of things we could be using here. So first of all, I want to get my legs close enough together so that I can really hug this block. So I kind of wiggle my feet a little closer together, and then I want my standard orientation here with great toes straight ahead, heels maybe just a touch wider, but I want to be oriented so I can ground and then energize right through my legs with external activation, external rotation activation. So when you do that, what you're going to feel is this spiral of energy through the legs, toning of your thighs, toning of your seat, and then because we have the block here, it's going to highlight the inseams of the legs too. Kind of feels like you're squeezing the block with your calf muscles a little bit. So ground through the entire tripod of your foot, like you're dialing the feet away from each other, grip the block, and we'll begin, hands on the hips. So now as you do that, I want you to shift your body weight into your forefoot, grip with your toes, and then start to lift the heels. Now this is an experiment. Please treat it as an experiment, and you're just gonna go up and down several times. So I want you to keep gripping the block, rise onto your toes, lift the heels away from the mat. You're gonna feel lots of energy in the arches of your feet as you squeeze the block. But you're just getting to know where you have control and where you're kind of losing control, and that's all very good to know. So once you've done that a few times, and please feel free to pause and just kind of get used to that, you're going to start to lift your heels and hold. So that could be just a little bit, and then you can start to explore, can I do that a little bit more? Can I do it a little bit more? And just see where you're able to lift your heels while you continue to squeeze the block. So this is really going to highlight those inseams of your legs. Draw that energy through your pelvic floor, lower belly, and on up the center of your body. Keep squeezing and holding and pushing your toes into the mat. And let's slowly take that down. Very good. Let's catch hold of the block and bring this block all the way up. Now we're taking the block to the back of the head. Now I want you to just keep your shoulders relaxed. You just want enough energy through the hands, kind of connecting the block to the back of the head. It's important. Press down into your feet and energize your legs like we just did. Your feet might be a little closer now, or you might prefer to keep them apart. Energize like you're dialing the feet and knees away from each other. Tone your thighs and seat, and probably still can feel some action in the inseams of your legs. So let's take a nice deep breath here. Reach through the crown of your head and then bow your body over toward the left side. So while we're here exploring sensation in the body, keep dialing your feet and knees away from each other. Feel the inseams of your legs. Now from the pelvic floor, can you lengthen the inner body? The very center of your body, reach it up through the front of the spine, through the throat, through toward the crown of the head. And now start pushing your head into the block a little bit more and keep the block steady. So now maybe you can feel a little bit more liveliness in your upper back. And maybe even lean the body back a little bit. And then if you like, you could turn your head and look up, just sort of connecting to the block and between the block and the head in a slightly different position. Press, press, press. And then reorient the head and we'll come up. Let's give our shoulders a little bit of release, shake it out, and let's go back there. So now once again, keep your shoulders pretty relaxed, elbows can be forward slightly, press down into your feet, activate your legs all the way up through your body, and then we'll bow to the other side. So I love teaching my students about all the support they can find in their body through the fascial lines. So in our standing pose, we lit up the lateral lines by activating the feet and knees and hips that way. And now we're activating into the back superficial line. Superficial back line of the body is like your backbone of the body. So we're pressing into it right here by using this block and just giving our students a way to feel into that sensation. And then we can turn the head if we want. You're going to probably feel that more in your left shoulder now. Keep the breath super steady. And then we'll come back, reorient the head, and come up to center. Very nice. Let's bring the arms down. We're going to come all the way down into a forward fold. And once again, we're going to put the block between the lower legs. And when you come down into forward fold this time, let's catch hold of the great toes. Now, similarly to how we did our heel raises earlier, we squeeze the heels towards each other, and then we come into a fold. And notice I'm bending my knees, letting my upper body come close to my thighs, pushing my toes down into my fingers, and dialing my feet away from each other. Squeezing the block. And now, with all of that happening all at the same time, can I push into my feet a little bit more and let my sitting bones rise while I keep my knees a little bit bent? Press, 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 keeping my upper body close to my thighs. Lots of activity going on in my muscles. One more breath, and then we'll release the toes. Let's take the block out from under there and roll ourselves up, and we'll reposition for chair pose. Exciting. So let's walk our feet close together as we can with the block in this position between the thighs. So make sure it's above the condyles of your femur here so it's more comfortable. Press into your feet. Remember, toes are straight ahead. Let's have none of this. This is a collapsed position, so we want to reorient this way. Energize like you're dialing your feet and knees away from each other and start to squeeze the block. So once again, it's almost like you're squeezing the heels together, okay? Lifting the arches of your feet. Press your seat back. And now, how about we go just a little bit lower and reach back with your tail. Keep squeezing the block. And now we'll bring the right elbow across the left thigh. And you know, you're at home. You can please take care of yourself. If you feel like you need a little break, please take it. We're bringing this left shoulder back, pressing into the legs, squeezing the block, elongating the spine as much as possible through activity. So gather through the belly, and then again, extend from pelvic floor through the crown of the head. Are you using your Ujjayi breath? Check in with your breath. And then we'll press down into the feet. You can let your knees straighten and still hold on to the block. That feels good. And now let's take the other side. Left elbow across right thigh. Roll your right shoulder back as you squeeze the block. Remember, you're keeping your toes and upper forefoot grounded, but squeezing your heels towards each other here. Squeeze the block. Breathe. Ujjayi breathing. Probably feel some interesting sensation around the sides of your legs and your seat. Let's take one more breath here. And then we'll push down into the feet again and reach up, lengthen, enjoy, keep squeezing the block, and then take the hands down in front of you. Very nice. And now the block can come to the mat. And we'll step back from it a little bit. Inhale, let's reach the arms up, and exhale, come all the way down. And then when you come up to about half lift position, you'll put your left hand on the block. Stand on your right foot, your left foot, and send your right foot up. Now, let's not rely on the block a whole lot. It's just getting us at a good level so we can do some exploration through the hips. Dial this knee outward, just like we did in our Tadasana pose, dialing it out. We've been doing that so far with every posture. This upper leg's gonna dial in now. Good, keep dialing it in as strongly as you can, and then maybe see about bringing your right hand forward. Yes, I know, we have the right hand and the right leg coming forward. That feels awkward, but that's why we're doing it, because it's gonna challenge us. Let's take one more breath here, and then we'll bring the right hand in and just open up so that the right hip stacks above the left. Press really firmly down into this left leg, lift super strong through your right leg, and then maybe the right hand comes up, or you could give yourself a new little challenge by reaching it forward. Let's breathe. Let's keep using our Ujjayi breath. We're resourcing our body. One more breath here. And then we'll take the hand back to the hip, foot to the floor, shift the block. Let's stand all the way up. Oh boy, it feels so good to stand up sometimes. Let's take it all the way down again. Inhale, come up to about that half lift position and put your right hand on the block. Take your left hand to your left hip and we'll send the left leg up. Again, we're giving ourselves an extra challenge. So, even if you're used to having your hand on the floor, this is just an interesting position to do this new exploration in. So we want to get into the habit of dialing our supporting leg outward, dialing our lifted leg inward very actively. This leg has to be so active. And once you feel like you're organized and stable, you can reach forward with your left hand. And now let's make that left arm as long as we can. Make the left leg as long as we can. Keep spinning it in and down. Remember, you're connecting your arms and legs into the core, right at that space behind the navel in front of the spine. If you like, then you can take your hand to your hip, start to open up so that the left hip stacks above the right. This left leg is going to lift up so strong because you're pressing down into your right foot, and then hand can come up or you can reach it forward. Make your limbs long. Press into the floor. Drive energy up into your body. Keep steady. You're using your lateral fascial lines here to stabilize you. One more breath here, and then the hand can return. Foot can come down. We'll stand all the way up, kind of feel a yay in your body, and exhale, hands are gonna come down. Now this is wonderful. We're gonna have the block in the front of the mat, hands on the hips, just gotta pull my pants up, and then we'll squat down kind of in chair pose. Remember chair pose? We were there not that long ago. Actually, I do want the block in the right-hand corner. So from chair pose, hands on hips, I'm gonna take my right heel and lightly place it on the block, okay? I don't wanna press down into that heel, it's just very light. Now I'm gonna focus on this left leg. So I'm gonna go down into a little squat and stand up, reaching back with my tail. So I think it's a good idea, even in yoga where we like to hold postures for 5 to 10 breaths, to do some postures with oscillation. So moving down and pressing away from the floor. This is gonna really help us level up our stability and strength and range of control. So this is kind of working on all of those areas. Let's do one more. We'll reach back, keep your heart lifted. If it feels better for you, you can reach your arms forward, or you could keep your hands in Namaskar Mudra or something. Let's take one more breath, and then we'll sit down. Now, I want you to see about finding your edge here. Reach back with your tail, forward with your heart, press your body back over your foot, and then see about taking your right foot off the block. Whew. One more breath, lift it up, and let's step the foot down. So let's take this leg and shake it out and shift the block over to the other side. Okay, let's come into chair pose. Just basically taking a chair pose variation. Bring your body weight into your right foot. Let your left foot really lightly rest on the block. And then we'll just move it down and up. So you can do this with breath. You can inhale as you rise, exhale as you lower. Take your time. Keep dialing the energy outward, this whole leg, so that you have a lifted arch. Your knee is not caving in. Got a good stable hip. And you're connecting your foot to your core. This is really good practice for that. Let's take two more. And push the floor away from you. Remember, there's no weight here, just passively resting. But now we're gonna ask it to wake up. Press down. Center your body weight over your foot that you're standing on. Center it there. Connect your foot to your core. And then lift the foot. And breathe. So good. Lift a little more. And step your foot down. Very nice. Let's shake out that leg. Beautiful. Really shake it out. Very nice. Let's inhale the arms up. Exhale all the way down. Inhale up to a half lift. And exhale, you're gonna bend your knees and take the front of your mat and fold it back. Now that's what I prefer to do when I'm doing camel pose or Ustrasana. So a good measurement for many people, it works for me, please just take note of it for yourself. This is about a good distance to have the legs apart, because we don't actually want them right together for this pose. We don't want them too far apart. So this is kind of a good measurement. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just measuring, and then I'm gonna bring the block, and I'm gonna put it beside my right foot. Okay, so now let's have hands to hips. And as you're doing this, you're gonna press down into your toes, top surface of your toes, like your toenails. Now, if you are very prone to foot cramping, then you might be happier with your toes tucked under and pressing into your toes. That could prevent foot cramping if you're very prone to that, or even calf cramping. Okay, so just something to be aware of. And then we're gonna energize down into the toes one way or another, and energize so that you can keep the inseams active. So I want you to give a little bit of attention to the pelvic floor and lower belly. Take your hips and shift your pelvis forward, almost like you're trying to get them over your knees, okay? Keep your toes grounded, super, super grounded. So let's just take a couple of breaths here. And while we're doing this, we're gonna wrap our hands around to the back side of the pelvis as we start to lengthen up the front side of the body. Okay, so we've got our hands back there, and we want to keep the hips shifted forward, lengthen this line here, but with integrity. So you've got it drawn in, and you're just gonna trace your eyes along the ceiling, looking up. And let's just take a breath here. If your neck gets tired very quickly, you might keep the chin tucked, but I do recommend that you give it a little challenge and then just tuck it in when it starts to fatigue, okay? Let's take one more breath. We're all gonna tuck our chin and bring our body back up. Let's just sit back. Hands can cup the knees, we'll tuck the chin. Let's take a nice deep breath, relaxing the back body for a moment. Keep your block where it is, and then we'll come back up. So again, we want to have that space. You could remeasure it if you want. And option this time will be to bring the hand to the block. Okay, so we're gonna, once again, have hands on hips. We'll start to bring the hands around to the back of the pelvis, press down into your toes, shift your hips forward, lengthen the front side of the body. Then, if it feels like you want to, you can raise the hands up. You might decide to stay right here, or you could take your right hand down and continue to explore back with your left hand. Eyes are on the ceiling here. Remember, this is your first option, where we were to begin with. This is number 2, and this is number 3. And you can just start to trace your eyes back, looking back. Keep pressing into your toes. Keep shifting your hips forward, keeping the integrity in the front body. Let's take one more breath here. And then hold on to the block as you bring your body up. We're gonna put it by the other foot now. All right, let's sit back. Take a little moment, tuck your chin. Tucking the chin is very important. You want to feel some length in the back of the neck, at the base of the head. Pull your pelvis back. And let's begin again. Let's come up. This is such a challenging posture, so I do feel you, but we're working incrementally, and I'm giving you lots of options, so make sure you're taking the one that's right for you today. You're also free to rest if you need. Okay, let's take our last one. So we're shifting the hips forward, grounding down into the toes, we're keeping the integrity in the front body. Pause here. This might be where you want to practice. You might also enjoy taking your hands up, and you might also enjoy bringing your hand to the block and starting to explore back. Okay, so please breathe. If you're feeling any compression or pinching or any other kind of intensity that's extremely unpleasant, please come out of the pose. All right, let's gather through the front body, tuck the chin, and we'll come down. Very nice. We'll just move the block to the side as we unfold our mat. Take the hands to the mat this time, and we'll take downward facing dog with some pedaling as a counterbalance.
And then we'll come up onto the toes, bend the knees a little bit, hop the feet through, and rock back. Immediately, we'll put the block between the lower legs. And now we want to magnetize the toes towards each other. Okay, so your toes are squeezing together, your knees are squeezing together, heels are squeezing together, activating the inseams of the legs to pelvic floor, and then from that we're lifting up, shoulders are coming back, lifting through the crown of the head. Let's take one more big breath here, squeeze. I want you to really find those leg inseams. Good, one more deep breath here. Very, very nice. And then relax the feet to come down. Take the block and just move it up a little bit higher. Hands are coming to fingertips toward the seat. Hands are behind you. I want you to see what I do with my arms. So as my hands come behind me and I plant the palms, I want to energize my arms like I'm dialing them away from each other. So this is what's going to happen. Okay, I don't want this to happen. So I'm dialing my hands away from each other, making my arms nice and strong. And then from there, I'm pressing down into my feet, pressing into my hands, pressing into my feet, squeeze the block, and bring the body up. Pressing down into hands, pressing down into feet, squeeze the block. And now I want to intentionally lift my pubic bone, lift my navel, lift the heart, and lift my gaze. And press, 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 press. Press into your feet. Let's take a deep, deep breath here. And let's bring the seat down. You can shift the block a little bit lower. And we're back in Shavasana. Isn't that exciting? Squeeze the great toes together, squeeze the heels together, squeeze the knees together. You might even find it feels a little bit easier this time. I'm just saying, it just might happen. Keep squeezing everything together. Lift. Your breath has gotten a lot deeper, I'll bet. Keep the energy flowing. One more full breath here, followed by one more. Let's take it together. Inhale, 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 pause. Exhale, 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 pause. And feet come down. Let's just shift the block, plant the hands, and bring the body up. So remember how we positioned our hands and arms. Now this time, I want you to squeeze the block, wiggle your feet together so they're about as close together as they can be, squeezing the block. Now press down into your left foot and straighten your right knee. Push it down, see if you can keep lifting the seat up, and then we'll switch sides. Press down into the right foot now, lift your hips, and then see about straightening the left. Press. Oh, I bet you're so glad you chose this particular practice right now. Let's take the foot down. Oh boy, press into both feet. Oh, actually that feels pretty good. It feels like a rest, doesn't it? One more breath here. And then you're not gonna believe this. We're gonna put the block between the lower legs and take Shavasana one more time. All right, shoulders go. We're just kind of getting warmed up, aren't we? Squeeze the block, squeeze the great toe edges together. Lift the corners of your mouth if you can. Full deep breath here. Yes, yes, yes. And let's bring the feet down. Okay, and from here, we can just straighten the legs. Take the arms up. Let's see how much length we can get in the torso, and we'll fold the body forward. Now we have this block in a very advantageous position. We could just turn it up and put the head down. If it works for you here, that might be good. It's actually really nice to just let the head rest. And we're gonna actually keep the legs pretty busy. So we're pressing down into the heels and energizing like we could pull the heels deeper into their sockets. So what can you find within your own body that would help you do that? Now, because we have the block here, you could also imagine that you're pulling the block into your pelvis. So whatever works for you in your body, you're gonna think about that and breathe. So it kind of looks like we're in a resting pose, but we're not resting, are we? We're staying super active. So squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And let's soften. Just rest exactly where you are, just in a very soft position. Nice deep breath. And then bring your body up. Very nice. Now we're going to just sit. I recommend that you scoot your body forward, but I'm going to fold my mat so that I'm in a better position for the camera. I'm just going to sit forward, and we want to sit in a wide leg position. Now, if you have a block that is kind of sticky, this might not work as well for you, so you might just use your hands or a towel or whatever, but I'm going to use the block. And we're going to play a little game with the block. So we're pressing down through the heels, hugging the whole back side of my legs into the mat, pressing down. I'm trying to make my body heavier, pressing down, and then the hands come on the block, and I'm going to slide forward while I press down into my legs. Press, press, press into my legs. Use the energy from pressing down into my legs to come back. Okay? And once again, we're pressing into the legs, pressing into the legs. This is easy, sliding forward, pushing down into the legs. Now lift, pressing the energy from my legs. I'm pulling into my belly to lift my body back. Okay, this is very deep core strengthening. Press down into the heels, press down into the legs, pull that into the belly, and the body comes back. Now, the added benefit of that is you're widening your range of control in your legs and hips. Press down and lift the body back. Good, we're gonna do that one more time. So pressing forward, and then press down into the legs, lift the belly, and bring your body back, okay? This time when we go out, we're gonna stay there. So here's what I recommend. You could just take it out part way and then come down onto your forearms, forehead on the block. Some of you might be more comfortable with your forehead here, but if that's you, you might actually decide to hang out on the block in this position, okay? So whatever works for you, we're gonna keep pressing down into the legs for now. Whatever position you wanna be in is fine, but we're working with our range of control, not our passive end range, okay? So press, press, press. Breathe. And now when it's time to come back up, we've been down there for a while, so this might feel hard. Pull the energy into the belly, come all the way up, and then bring the legs in. I'm just gonna unfold my mat, but then we'll all just take the feet onto the mat, and then windshield wiper the legs from side to side. That's gonna feel nice. Very good. Now let's come into stag pose, just briefly rotating. See how far you can face toward the back. Draw this left shoulder back. And then let's unwind. I'm really all about hip mobilization rather than passive end range positions. So this is a really nice position to go into. And once again, we'll just mobilize a little bit more. So very nice. Now, a lot of people like to use the block between thighs for lying twists. So that's what we'll come into now. So you could lie all the way back onto your back and then let the knees fall to the side. I'm not gonna lie on my back because I have a mic on my back, but you can go into this position. You could also do this without the block. So please go into lying twist. Knees can start on the right side if you like, and just let the feet and knees fall all the way down. Block can be between. If you don't like the block, please go ahead and take it out. So come into lying twist. Just take a nice deep breath. You might decide to rest your right hand on top of the outer right knee as you reach back. Take it one more deep breath there. And then you're gonna gather through the belly, come back to center. If you have the block between your knees, that's great. And then you're gonna fall to the other side. Okay, and you might again decide to put the hand on the knee as you reach your opposite shoulder back and look out along that outstretched arm. Slow your breath, deepen your breath. Very good. And then we'll gather back into the center. And now catch feet for happy baby pose. Please rock your body from side to side in happy baby pose. You're lying on your back. And just enjoy a few breaths there. Then we'll bring the knees together, wrap arms around the knees, tuck your nose into the space between your knees and squeeze. Just squeeze your body with sincere appreciation for this journey you've been on in this little practice. And then next, as you're ready, can open the body and take your Shavasana posture, letting the heels fall to the width of the mat, shoulder blades tucking under the body a little bit, and arms out from there. Feel free to grab a blanket or anything else you need. I suggest that you set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes or rest in Shavasana for as long as you wish. But this is where I will be leaving you. I hope you enjoyed this 30-minute practice with the block. And thanks so much for joining me, you guys. I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.